Hello everyone, my name is McCade Pearson, representing Group 10 today, and our group project on the Battle of Thermopylae. The Battle of Thermopylae is one of history's most famous examples of a smaller force using strategy and terrain to hold off a much larger army. One key question is, how did the choice of terrain and tactical formations of the Greek forces impact their ability to withstand the Persian army? The battle took place in 480 BC during the Greco-Persian Wars, right at the start of a 2-year period with many battles and about 20 years into the overall group of wars. They were vastly outnumbered, but managed to hold off the Persian army for 3 days. Their ability to do so raises an important question. Could alternative tactical decisions or force distributions have extended their resistance or inflicted greater losses on the Persian forces? To explore this, we are using agent-based modeling, which allows us to simulate different battlefield scenarios by varying unit positioning, geography, and strategic decisions. We can analyze their impact on the battle's outcome. Through our research, we aim to determine if the Greeks could have prolonged their defense or increased Persian casualties with different strategic choices. This sets the foundation of our investigation, and in the following slides will break down our research approach in detail. To understand the significance of the Battle of Thermopylae, we need to look at the historical context. This battle took place during the Greco-Persian Wars, a series of conflicts between the Greek city-states and the Persian Empire. At its core, the battle symbolized Greek resistance against Persian expansion and became a defining moment in Western military history. The Greek forces were led by King Leonidas I of Sparta, whose objective was to block the Persian advance and protect Greece from domination. On the Persian side, King Xerxes I sought to subjugate Greece as part of the broader campaign to expand Persian influence across southeastern Europe. The Greek forces were heavily outnumbered, consisting of approximately 7,000 soldiers, including the famous 300 Spartans. In contrast, the Persian army was massive, with estimates ranging from 100,000 to 300,000 soldiers. This overwhelming numerical advantage forced the Greeks to rely on superior terrain usage and tactical formations to withstand the assault. This background sets the stage for analysis of how terrain and tactics influenced the battle's outcome. A few key factors shaped the battle: technology, terrain, and how the fight unfolded. First, the technology, where the Greeks used the phalanx formation, a tight infantry formation that gives them a big advantage in close combat. They were heavily armored with bronze armor, long spears, and large shields, making them well suited for holding their ground. The Persians, on the other hand, had a more diverse army. They relied on archers, cavalry, and light armored infantry, which gave them mobility and range but made them less effective in prolonged close combat. Next, the battle environment. The battle took place at Thermopylae, a narrow mountain pass. This terrain was a game changer. It forced the Persians into a tight space where the superior numbers didn't matter as much, allowing the Greeks to hold them off for 2 days. The Greeks knew the Persians were coming and decided this was the location they wanted to fight. And finally, the battle timeline. On day 1 and 2, the Greeks successfully held their position, repelling multiple Persian attacks. But on day 3, a Greek traitor led the Persians through a hidden mountain path, allowing them to outflank the Greeks. Leonidas and his remaining Spartans made their final stand and fought to the death, while the rest of the Greek army retreated. Persian victory, but at a cost. The heroic Greek resistance inspired future victories where the Persians were eventually defeated. All of this sets up the core question of our research: how much did terrain and tactics influence the outcome? That's what we'll explore through our agent-based model. As we look into the choice of terrain and tactical formations and how they impacted the Greeks' ability to withstand the Persian army at Thermopylae, we'll look at a variety of variables. We have two dependent variables: the duration of battle, which we'll measure in days and hours, with one simulation tick equaling 10 minutes and one full battle day equaling 12 hours. We'll also look at casualties, where we'll track the number of soldiers lost on both sides, where one agent in our model represents 100 soldiers. Our independent variables focus on key battle factors. Use of terrain: we'll adjust the width of the pass to see how it affects the battle. A narrow pass should help the Greeks hold their position, while a wider pass allows more Persians to attack and potentially flank them. As well as tactical formations, where we'll compare outcomes when the Greeks maintain their disciplined phalanx versus a looser, less organized formation. Based on these variables, our hypothesis is that choosing the right terrain and maintaining strong tactical formations significantly increased how long the Greeks could hold out and reduce their casualties. If they had made different choices, they may not have lasted as long or inflicted as much damage on the Persians. Our model will test this by simulating different battlefield conditions and formations to see how they impacted the battle's outcome. We will use agent-based modeling to analyze the Battle of Thermopylae, which allows us to simulate individual soldiers and battlefield conditions in a dynamic way. First, it captures individual and group behaviors. Each Greek and Persian soldier is modeled as an autonomous agent, followed specific movement, attack, and defense strategies. This allows us to replicate how different units would react in real time. Second, it replicates complex battlefield dynamics. By modeling terrain constraints, formations, and engagement rules, we can see how the battle unfolds naturally rather than relying on rigid preset outcomes. It allows us to test alternative scenarios where we can tweak factors like unit positioning, force composition, or terrain usage to see how these changes affect the duration of the battle and casualty rates. This helps us explore the question of could the Greeks have held out longer and inflicted greater loss with different strategies? It also incorporates environmental and strategic variables like geography, troop fatigue, morale, and communication. They all play a role in battle outcomes, and this model allows us to evaluate their impact. It provides quantifiable results. The simulation will generate measurable data on survival rates, positioning effectiveness, and force depletion under different conditions. This gives us a concrete way to prepare outcomes and draw conclusions about battlefield strategy. By using this approach, we can go beyond just historical narratives and actually test the effectiveness of some Greek tactics in a controlled, data-driven way. The terrain at Thermopylae was critical to the battle. Historically, the patch was estimated to be between 40 and 100 feet wide. In our model, we set it at 8 patches, 5 feet each, restricting Persian movement and preventing flanking. These settings can be adjusted to explore different scenarios. For forces, we modeled the Greeks at 70 agents, representing about 7,000 soldiers. Spartans are shown as red circles, and other Greek forces as blue. The Persians, estimated between 100 and 300,000, are represented by 1,000 agents arriving in waves of 100. They appear as gray squares, with each representing 100 soldiers. These numbers can be modified to test different force sizes. Greek soldiers carry spears, giving them a 2-patch attack range. Persians use swords with a 1-patch range. Morale is also a factor. Spartans start at 1,000, other Greeks at 80, and Persians at 50. Morale drops by 2 each tick as allies fall. Greek are better trained with 75% to land a kill, while Persians only have a 35% chance. All of these values can be adjusted to examine changes in training, morale, or tactics. This model helps us explore how these factors influence the battle and what might have happened under different conditions. Again, we have two main independent variables, terrain and formation. The width of the pass is crucial for the Greeks' defense. By adjusting the pass width, we can see how increasing it allows Persian forces to spread out and potentially flank the Greeks. The second variable is formation. We'll model the effect of breaking the Greek phalanx or allowing encirclements by adjusting the formation reset function. If the Greeks stray from their formation, it can create openings for the Persians to penetrate their lines. We'll use Monte Carlo simulations, sensitivity analysis, and data visualization to test these variables and track the battle's progression. Here we have the flow diagram illustrating the interactions of the Greek and Spartan forces. At each tick, the Greek or Spartan agents must make key decisions. They'll either move into position or attack. Let's break it down step by step. First, we check if the agent is still alive. If they are, the next decision is whether they're in phalanx formation. If they've broken formation, they'll move to rejoin their allies and fortify their position. This is crucial since the strength of the phalanx formation is a core part of their defense strategy. Next, we assess if the agent is in range to attack an enemy. If they are, they will attack. But their morale is also an important factor in our model. If an ally is killed near them, their morale will decrease, which could influence their effectiveness in battle. As we go through the flowchart, remember that each decision leads to the next, and this cyclical process repeats with each tick of simulation. We'll give you a moment to take in the flow diagram, so feel free to look it over and see how these interactions play out. Here we have the flow diagram for the Persian forces, which follows a similar structure but with some key differences to reflect their larger, more diverse army. Just like with the Greek forces, every tick begins by checking if the Persian agent is alive. If they are, we move to determine if they are in range to attack an enemy. If so, they will attack, engaging in combat with the Greeks. If the Persian agent isn't in range to attack, we then check if they can move forward toward the Greek forces. If they can, they will advance towards their target, pressing the attack. If not, they will wait for the next opponent to either move or attack, depending on the situation. Additionally, if an ally dies nearby, the agent's morale will decrease, just like the Greek forces. This could potentially affect their performance in the battle. We'll give you a moment to look over this flowchart as well and see how the Persian forces will behave throughout the simulation. To simulate the Persian forces' reinforcements, we check if there are any remaining agents in the current wave. If there are, the simulation continues. If not, a new wave of soldiers is sent toward the Greeks. A timer is also in place. Every 20 ticks, regardless of whether the previous wave has surviving soldiers, a new wave is triggered. This ensures that the Persians keep sending troops throughout the battle. We're excited to finalize our model, run the simulations, and analyze the results. How much did terrain and tactics truly impact the battle's outcome? Did the Greeks perform as well as history tells us, or could they have done better? We look forward to finding out. This is our citations page, and thank you for your time today and listening to Group 10.